Applicants who are applying to the German schools for their undergrad and master's programs, this video is for them. Okay, see, when you're applying to the German schools, a German who is sitting in the German admissions committee will be viewing your application in a particular way. So, knowing his mindset, is going to help you structure in your application in such a way that it convinces the German admissions committee. So, in this video, we'll also talk about how an American sitting in the American admissions committee is going to evaluate your application, just for the comparison sake. Okay, let's get into the video. What comes to mind when you think of Germany and Germans is that Germany is an orderly nation. The German word for order is Ordnung, and they take order to an entirely different level. Okay, things are systematic, and people are expected to be reliable, and people are expected to be punctual. Okay, everything has its place. Their mindset is that they wanted to predict the future, and they wanted to preempt all the uncertainties. Okay, so this is a general thing that comes to mind when you think of Germany. Okay, also the Autobahn. Okay, the state roads, which are exquisitely made, so people can go at top speed. And people like frank, and sometimes the German frankness is thought to be an insult. Because we always hear, when an American is going to talk to you, he might first talk about all the good things about you, and then point to you about the flaws that you made. Whereas a German is going to go straight to the issue, and sometimes that might be perceived as an insult. Okay, these are things that come to mind when you think of Germany. Okay, see, when it comes to the application, this attitude of being methodical, this influences the German admissions committee. Okay, methodical in the sense, like in case if there is a requirement, okay, like your GPA must be 8, and we should admit only candidates who are having at least 8 as their GPA, and if there is only a point less from 8, still you will be rejected by the German admissions committee. Okay, just they follow the instruction. When you look at an American admissions committee, they are always willing to hear your story. Okay, let's assume that you have a GPA which is lower than what they're expecting. They might be looking at other factors in your application which are promising, and sometimes they can positively come to a decision about your application because you're shown promise in some of the areas. Although you don't strictly meet the requirements, for some reason they might see your application to be promising, and they admit you. Okay, but this doesn't happen in Germany. So people, when people come to us and they say that they wanted to apply to the German state schools, we always ask them like whether you have a high GPA, whether you have any backlog history. And if they say yes to it, we advise them to not just consider Germany, but also consider applying to schools outside Germany. Okay, because we know candidates who have excellent work experience. They might have contributing internship experience, but still they might be getting rejected by the German school because they don't meet their GPA requirement. So when you have a low GPA, when you have many backlogs, the probability of succeeding at the German state schools, okay, any of the TU schools for that matter, maybe the TU Munich or Dresden or Darmstadt or Berlin or Braunschweig, okay, or Karlsruhe. So the same thing. Whereas when you're applying to the private schools in Germany, maybe they might be willing to consider this. Gives you some understanding about how a German is going to view your application as against how an American is going to view your application. The best way to structure your application for German schools is that it should begin from getting the right GPA. Okay, so ensure that you have a very high GPA in the first place. Okay, beyond that, go for internships that is relevant to the master's major or the bachelor's major you would like to pursue. Okay, that's the second part. If you have both these, a high GPA and a relevant internship or work experience, the probability of convincing the German admissions committee is very high. Okay, so also ensure that your if it is going to be an English taught master's program, the scores that you get in your IELTS should be at least like a 7, although 6.5 is the average. Okay, 7 in IELTS, high GPA, and the third is relevant work experience. Those would be the recipe to get an admission at a German school. So for those people who have backlogs, who have low GPA, we'll always recommend American institutions. Okay, because if you are shown promise in some area, okay, they would be willing to hear your story. Okay, so that's the reason they always say that America always gives a second chance. That is true. When it comes to the quality of the education, the German schools are as good as American schools. Okay, but there is no pecking order. There is no ranking in Germany. Whereas in America, there is always a kind of ranking, like Stanford and Berkeley might be at the top for computer science. Maybe Georgia Tech and University of Michigan Ann Arbor might be strong for mechanical engineering and industrial engineering. Harvard might be strong for general management, and Stanford might be strong in entrepreneurship. Okay, so these kinds of ranking for certain specific areas you can find more in the US than in Germany. But this doesn't discredit the German schools. This is just to say that when you're having a low GPA, when you have backlogs, you must be reducing the risk of rejection by the German schools by applying to schools outside Germany. Okay, I hope this video is useful to those people who are considering applying for German schools for the undergrad and grad programs. Thank you.